It's been kind of disturbing to us. I've heard Democrats suggest that there needs to be a ceasefire. Let us be clear. We've been very clear about this. There was a ceasefire. It was before October 7th, and Hamas broke it. Israel doesn't need a ceasefire. It needs its allies to cease with the politics and deliver support now. And that's what we're doing.
Well, that's House Speaker Mike Johnson, of course, brushing aside calls for a ceasefire. Well, some progressives in the Democratic Party, well, they've been ramping up their pro-Palestinian rhetoric. One outspoken squad member, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, accused the president of supporting genocide by backing Israel's offensive in the Gaza Strip against the terrorists of Hamas. This comes, of course, after 9 Democrats and 1 Republican voted against supporting Israel in the House. Former Republican New York Congressman Lee Zeldin joins us now. He was co-chair of the House Republican Israel Caucus and co-chair of the Black Jewish Caucus, and joins us here in the studio. Congressman, good to see you.
Always good to see you.
Of course. You were one of the lone Republican Jewish members of the House. Does it pain you to hear some of this rhetoric now coming from some members of the Democratic Party?
100%. And I hope that the rest of the Democratic Party is successful in being able to root this out from their ranks. It's important for leaders of the Democratic Party to be leading their followers as opposed to being led by their followers. The rhetoric that we're hearing from members of Congress, some are inside on college campuses, some are on the streets, and it's painful for American foreign policy, for this relationship with Israel, for Jews all throughout our country, especially Jewish students on these college campuses. And we shouldn't act naive. We shouldn't make believe like what Rashida Tlaib is saying has some type of alternate meaning. Take her for exactly what it's worth at face value. She supports a one-state solution. She's outspoken on this. She believes in a one-state solution where Israel doesn't exist. When she says that it's a peaceful position, a river to the sea, this is a position, this is rhetoric that is being engaged for people who want to wipe Israel off of the map. Rashida Tlaib hasn't condemned Hamas. She hasn't condemned what happened on October 7th, naming the babies getting beheaded and the innocent civilians who were raped and the executions and the hostages. She's not calling for Hamas to release these hostages. So instead of us taking a step back and acting confused, like we don't know what she stands for or what she's really calling for, how about we act very intelligently, taking it at face value, and we deal with it up front?
Or Hillary Vaughn down in Washington asked Congresswoman Tlaib about does she support beheading of the babies or condemn it? And she wouldn't even answer that question. River to the sea. Let me make it very clear to our viewers what that means. When they chant from the river to the sea, that means kill all the Jews. We want Israel wiped out. We don't want Israel to exist. From the Jordan River to the sea, meaning the Mediterranean. But here's what Congresswoman Tlaib tweeted about that. She says, no, quote, from the river to the sea is an aspirational call for freedom, human rights, and peaceful coexistence, not death, destruction, or hate. Your response?
Peaceful coexistence means that Jews in Israel are able to coexist. She does not support a two-state solution. She supports a one-state solution. Peaceful coexistence, especially right now, I mean, she's blaming Israel for the bombing of a hospital that terrorists are responsible for. And it's one thing for her to say up front, because maybe she thought Israel was responsible for it. But then as a sitting member of Congress, you have access to intelligence at some of the highest levels. You are now informed that this wasn't Israel. It was in fact caused by terrorists. What do? You're supposed to say, well, I was mistaken. Instead, she doubles down and she still blamed Israel for it. She stood in front of the Capitol blaming Israel for it, with people who were then storming the Capitol complex after she was issuing this call.
Why do they not understand that? For example, Omar talked about bombing refugee camps, yet at the same time, Israel says those refugee camps are Hamas headquarters.
This is something where you would expect if Rashida Tlaib and Omar care about innocent Palestinian civilians, they should be quite critical of Hamas using these innocent civilians as human shields. They should be critical of Hamas going after innocent civilians when they are trying to leave to safer places of Gaza. Instead, Hamas is targeting these civilians. Oh, and by the way, Hamas was elected to run Gaza. We shouldn't make believe that Hamas just came in, that there wasn't some election and they just took over and everyone's opposed to them. And I'll tell you one other piece of this that's greatly concerning is that this is multi-generational. You see it with UNRWA funds and textbooks. It's been an issue for years. You have a younger generation that is being taught with textbooks where you show a map of the region, there is no Israel. So this isn't something that just magically goes away. You use a word like, let's have a ceasefire. Mike Johnson's right. There was a ceasefire. And on October 7th, the world changed. And I fear that the world permanently changed. And you can't just expect Israel to just stand down in response to it. They have an inherent right of self-defense. They have to stick up for its people. And the United States would be smart to stand by our great ally.
And we're doing that now. Congressman Lee Zeldin, good to see you.